Hi, welcome to Prime Sports with me, Razak Musbao. Tonight, the Black Queens will be in action tomorrow as they look to pick their first win in the Women's African Cup of Nations tournament. Ahead of that, the head coach, Kim Lasborkegrin, is upbeat ahead of his side's encounter against Mali in the tournament. The Queens commenced their campaign at the tournament with a 2-0 defeat to defending champion South Africa. The team will now need to win against Mali to stand a chance of qualifying out of Group C. Well, the head coach, Kim Lasborkegrin, has been speaking ahead of the game tomorrow.
I preferred also to have 3 points like Mali are having, but so in the end of the day, they probably just need one more point to get to the quarterfinal. But in the same way, we need to attack each game in the same way, and our mentality is to win every single game. It doesn't matter if we play against Mali in the group stage or hopefully a final against Morocco, whatever it will be. Our goal is always to win every single game, so it doesn't change too much for us, actually. We are playing against a good team. They're having especially a couple of good attacking players, so it's going to be difficult and a little bit tricky, I will say. Of course, we have watched the team, spent many hours to watch the opponent, so we know their strengths and weaknesses. But in the end of the day, we believe in ourselves. So the most important is that we attack this game in our way to play, with our style. So that's the most important in this game.
Now, the 2025 WAFU Zone B Under-20 Boys Cup kicked off earlier today at the Ghana Man Soccer Center of Excellence, with Ghana taking on Nigeria. The game did end in a pulsating 1-1 draw in that Group A opener, and it was the Black Satellite who started brightly and were rewarded in the first half when team captain Aziz Misbah unleashed a thunderous strike into the roof of the net, sending the home crowd into raptures to give Ghana the lead. Well, Ghana's high-pressing game was relentless and made sure to pin Nigeria in the better part of the first half. Our Nigeria responded, regrouped and responded following, when their pressure paid off when Abdullahi Mohammed climbed highest to power home a well-timed header from a corner, silencing the home crowd to ensure that they finished the first game of the tournament with 1 point apiece. Well, the games will continue tomorrow at the Ghana Man Soccer Center of Excellence. Away from that, Joysports has reached a partnership agreement with ABSA Black Star Marathon for the 2025 edition of the mega event. The marathon is an annual event that assembles both elite, amateur, and recreational runners to compete in a marathon and run or walk. This year's event is expected to attract hundreds of participants at the Independence Square, which is expected to be the starting point. Now, the founder and CEO of the event is Mr. Kwame Adai, and he joins me via Zoom for some more on this big event coming up on July 26th. Mr. Kwame Adai, thank you very much for your time. First of all, help us appreciate what this event is all about. If you can unmute your sound for us.
I'm sorry, I was muted. I didn't realize that. Thank you very much, Musbao. It's a great honor to be with you and your audience today. The ABSA Black Star Marathon is an annual event. It's one of the major road running events on the calendar, on the sporting calendar in Ghana. I say in Ghana, but I say that also advisedly because this event is truly international. It draws runners, both competitive, recreational runners from the 4 corners of the globe. Last year, we had people coming from 22 countries, from China, South Korea, Germany. On the continent of Africa, we had people from Kenya, from Ethiopia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Cameroon, Nigeria, Benin, all over the place. And this year, we want to even do better. We've been promoting this race so much all over since we launched on the 5th of May, and the response has been tremendous. We've been having people coming and registering from everywhere. The defending champion, who is Kenyan in the men's marathon division, he's poised to come defend his title. But we also have heard from other strong elite runners and other people from the East African region and other parts of West Africa. People have registered from Britain, from Portugal, among other places. So it's a big deal.
Amazing. Let's talk about some of the events that will be happening this year.
Yeah, this year we are billing it broadly. This is Ghana's premier marathon, and we are billing it as a festival of running. Why are we saying that? Because we have so many diverse races designed to appeal to different people with different abilities. For example, we have the full 42.2 kilometer marathon, which is happening. We'll have that for men, women, as well as the racing wheelchair category. So we have our wheelchair racers also joining the action and doing the 42.2 kilometer race. I'll shortly share with you the route. But we also appreciate that not everyone can do a 42.2 kilometers. So we also have a 10 kilometer mass run, walk, jog, and I always add shijama, designed to appeal to everybody, whether you are a man, whether you are a woman, whether you are in your wheelchair, everyday wheelchair, you have the chance to take part in that 10 kilometer race. It's a run, it's a walk. You can choose to run if you have the ability. You can choose to make it a family walking affair where you can keep fit. Whether you are in your wheelchair or you are able-bodied, male, female, come, let's have fun.
Amazing. You're talking about that registration is still open at this point. Is that the case? Is registration still open? And how can people get to register to be part of it?
Awesome. Thank you for that very important question. Originally, we had a deadline for registering on the 30th of June. And we indeed closed the portal at that point, but we were overwhelmed by requests by people to reopen the portal so they can register. So we granted an extension to the 15th of July, which is coming pretty soon. It's galloping very, very fast. So on the 15th of July, people will have the chance to register till that date. And I hope everyone will take advantage, whether you are in the high schools, whether you are in a Keep Fit club, whether you are an elite runner, whether you are a banker, a nurse, an insurance professional, from a broadcaster, we welcome everyone to come register.
Amazing.
And we are for so many reasons. Yes.
Amazing. So everyone is invited to register and be part of it, and significantly, the registration is still open. Let's wrap up with the routes. We know there is a 10-kilometer run or walk, and there is a 42.2 kilometer. Let's start with the 10 kilometers. How is the journey going to be like?
Yes, so the race day, just to emphasize, is on July 26th, and it's going to happen at the Independence Square, the iconic Independence Square in Accra. For the 10-kilometer race, we will start the race at the Independence Square. Our runners will head east through the 28th February Road. They run towards the Osula Road. They pass the Osu police station and get to the veterinary junction where we have the lab polyclinic. Well, where we used to have the lab polyclinic, which is now demolished, right? And under construction, hopefully. And then they make a left at that point, past Laboni Junction, Dankwa Circle, the police headquarters. And then they go up the ramp to the Sankara interchange. When they get there, then they start their journey back home. They get on the Independence Avenue, past the Latter-day Saints head office, Carl Bank, and they get to the Ridge Runabout. At the Ridge Runabout, they make a left and towards the conference center. They go past the conference center and then they get to the State House, and that takes them to the Osu Cemetery. That's the Osu end of the stadium, Accra Sports Stadium. Then from there, they just start the home stretch, go past the Black Star Square, and then run about half of the runabout and enter and finish up into the Independence Square. So that's our route for the 10-kilometer run, walk, jog, and shijama.
Amazing. And interestingly, yesterday we spent a lot of time on the 42-kilometer route also, and it's a very interesting route that, we should have viewers, but just reiterate that route also for us very briefly.
Thank you very much. The 42-kilometer route, it's a virtual tour of Accra. It's a very breathtaking tour of some of the iconic scenic routes in Accra that we have in Accra. Our runners will start from the Independence Square as also, but when they come out, they make a left towards the Ministry of Food and Agri traffic light. When they get to the Ministry of Agri traffic light, they make a U-turn and head back towards the Independence Square area. Then they go off on the 28th February Road, the Osula Road, go all the way when they get to Jokers, then they fork into the La Township, go past the La Community Bank, get to La Police Station. In front of the La Police Station, they make a left. They go about 200 meters, then they make a quick right, which they take them to the Trade Fair junction or the Trade Fair bus stop. When they get to that bus stop, they make a right and head towards the EPP bookshop and to the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel junction there. Then they make a U-turn and head back towards the Trade Fair. They run from the Trade Fair through to Burma Camp, Elwak, and to 37 Military Hospital. When they get to the 37 Military Hospital, they make a left onto the Independence, through Jubilee House, Independence Avenue, till they get to National Theatre. They continue towards to Octagon, go past the Accra City Hotel, which was known as Novotel, and then they go past the TUC traffic light and head towards the mental hospital, which is the Holy Spirit Cathedral. When they get to that point, they make a left onto the Kojo Thompson Road. That takes them through Calvary Baptist Church to Kwame Nkrumah interchange. And they continue through Awudome and get to Bechabilamte Circle. And then they continue very quickly onto the Mortuary Road and head all the way to the Bukom Boxing Arena. When they get there, they now make a right to the Kolebu Polyclinic, Indafa Park, to the Mamprobi Post Office. Now, when they get there, they make a right now and head up as if they're going to Kanishin. But they're not going to get to Kanishin. At the spot that we used to call Summer Huts Junction, they make a right through the front of the defunct DH spot, IBE Banana Inn, and they head up all the way to Kit Kat, which is a T junction there. Then they make a left through the Datus Preparatory School and onto the Exhibition Road, past that junction, and then get to the Mascot Hotel. When they get to Mascot Hotel, then they start heading back east through Abodre, the Maprobi Post Office or police station, and then when they get to the Maprobi Post Office, they make a right and go to the White House, which is the old Winneba Road.
So they move. So they make this entire journey and return to the Independence Square.
Yes, so they get to the White House, Old Winneba Road, Colegono Beach, the Fire Service Training School, Lighthouse, the Asher Fort, James Fort. They go on the High Street past ABSA headquarters, and then past the lotteries area and head back to the Independence Square. That is exactly 42.2 kilometers, certified, accurate, very challenging, very rewarding, and totally fulfilling route.
Well, amazing. We are looking forward to it. July 26th is the date, and registration is still open. Mr. Kwame Adai will definitely keep in touch as we build up to this big event. There's the ABSA Black Star Marathon, and of course, the entire city is looking forward to it. That's Mr. Kwame Adai. He's the CEO and founder of the event. Well, let me take you to Accra Heart of Folk because they're in a bit of trouble. They've been hit with another transfer ban despite clearing in excess of $38,000 settlement agreed with new ABSA, now leading to the lifting of a transfer ban previously imposed by the Ghana Football Association. However, just days later, a fresh transfer ban has been imposed on the club for failing to meet a July 7, 2025 deadline. A colleague, Victor Achutamaklo, has more.
Francis Ajete was signed in February 2023, midway through the season. He signed a 4-year contract, but I'm not sure any Hearts of fan would ever remember seeing him in Hearts of colours, apart from his the images from his unveiling announcement, right? Because he never really played for Accra Hearts of in the league, or for that matter, in any competitive game. But Hearts find themselves in a situation where they have to come up with 108,000 Ghana cedis in addition to the salaries that they may have paid him while he was in the employ of the club. Now, Ayete's signing was a curious one because he joined Accra Hearts at a time when confidence was at an all-time low. In fact, there are many who would argue that he was signed ostensibly to pacify the supporters who were complaining at the time. He wasn't part of a number of transfers that the club conducted in February of 2023 in what you would call a panic buy. Because 6 months before that, Accra Hearts had terminated the contracts refused to extend the contract of the captain and his vice, Mohamed Al-Hassan and Fatah Mohamed, who were big fan favorites at the time. Now, when those players left and the club was no longer competitive, and I think the Sunday before Ajete's announcement or his arrival, Hearts had lost to Aduana Stars by 2-0 in Accra, a defeat that more or less ended their title ambitions for the year. And so there was a sense that something ought to give. The club needed to show a certain ambition in the transfer market. And so they went out and they made that acquisition. It is one that, with the benefits of hindsight, should not have happened, because footballing-wise, Hearts did not make any gains from that investment. But it is the latest in a series of bad decisions that Accra had to work.
So Hazafolk will have now have to pay in excess of 100,000 Ghana cedis to have that transfer ban lifted from them. But let's wrap up with some tennis, because the 10th edition of the Ghana Amateur Ladies Open Golf Tournament officially teed off at the center of the World Golf Club in Tema with thrilling rounds of action. Joysports' Joseph Ayenga Walter was there and has more in this report.
The 10th edition of the Ghana Amateur Ladies Open Golf Tournament officially teed off on Thursday, July 10th at the center of the World Golf Club in Tema. Speaking at the opening ceremony, National Coordinator for the Ghana Golf Association, Linda Amponsah-Mensah, highlighted the importance of the tournament for the development and exposure of female golfers across the continent.
We have about 6 countries representing the African countries. We have Nigeria, we have Côte d'Ivoire, we have Togo, we have Uganda, Tanzania, and then Gabon. All these countries have been represented by players who have very, very low handicaps and are competing for a very, very big cup.
Tanzanian golfer Hussein Madina, who emerged as champion in the last edition, shared expectations in this year's competition.
Basically, I'm here and I'm ready to win it. So my expectation is to defend it again.
The 3-day event runs from Thursday, July 10 to Saturday, July 12, 2025 at the center of the World Golf Club in Tema.